This is Kevin Martin coming to you from the Lake Erie Regional Grape Program, and here to talk a little bit about a new program offered by New York State Ag and Markets for some of New York State grape growers. We're calling this a Concord Vineyard Improvement Plan, and Ag and Markets has allocated up to $1.3 million to fund Concord grape growers for vineyard improvements. Basically what this means is there's some funding available to remove unwanted or old Concord vineyards. There is also some money available to replant those vineyards back to some sort of agricultural commodity. There is funding available if those commodities are perennial crops, such as tree fruit or grapes, and also there's a requirement in the program if you want to participate in the removal that at the very least some sort of annual crop or cover crop would be established. In that situation, there wouldn't be funding for the establishment. In terms of the removal, we're looking at just Concord vineyards that are currently in existence. They don't necessarily have to be alive. If you're familiar with the Tree Fruit Assistance Program, there was always a situation where you were looking at what vines died and what vines didn't, and an acreage calculation. Really, we're just looking at was this a Concord vineyard, and are there still vines or evidence of vines present? We understand, and Ag and Markets understands that primarily what we're trying to do is remove abandoned vineyards, and obviously in a situation like that there could be a lot of skips and dead vines, and that's not part of the calculation. There are certain limits on the funding. There's a number of limits. We can go through those really quickly. You can also find them on our website. You can find all this information in an application form on our website as well. That website, before I get into the limitations, is lergp.com/Vineyard Improvement Program. You can find it on our homepage at lergp.com. There'll be a button on the top to click through to see all this information and any updates that we come up with as we start to get some frequently asked questions. That being said, so each eligible project must be no more than $50,000. It will fund 50% of the cost of removal. It will fund 25% of the cost of replanting, with a total maximum per acre of $1,500. So that means as soon as your total costs exceed $3,000, your 50% match would be exhausted. It would be more than that if you were relying on the 25% match for replanting costs. Pretty much all costs you can think of related to this type of project will be allowable under the program. So as long as they contribute towards the removal or replanting, it's going to be something that is allowable. Whether that happens to be unpaid family labor or drainage for the establishment, the one thing to keep in mind is even though all these costs are allowable, it is pretty easy to exhaust the $1,500 maximum amount of funding per acre. We're looking for a 12-month turnaround time on removal projects and 36-month on replants. Basically, that just gives staff here a window to check out the progress and make sure the new vineyard or tree fruit is being cared for, and also a chance to come out and take a look at the vineyard before it's removed. All of this work is going to need to be completed once the application is completed, received, and accepted. The one good news, despite all these restrictions, is that there is some flexibility in the time frame. We have until October 15th, 2022 to accept and approve applications, or until the $1.3 million is exhausted. So while there are some limitations, I think, that are probably going to limit participation, the time frame gives us some flexibility so that we hope we can help out a number of growers. The other thing is this is a New York State program, so obviously Pennsylvania would be excluded to our PA representatives, and it's exclusive to the southern tier as well as Niagara and Erie County as defined by Ag and Markets. So this would be any county between Chautauqua and Delaware that borders Pennsylvania, as well as Erie County and Niagara County, New York. So there are some limitations in the Finger Lakes and the Hudson Valley where we do have Concords that would not necessarily be eligible for this program because funding wasn't available, but we do have funding for all of those counties. And that pretty much summarizes the restrictions of the program. There's some more information about the materials and information you'll need to fill out an application form on our website. And hopefully you find that pretty straightforward. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, check out the website or feel free to give us a call. Thanks a lot.